Greetings my friends, how are you doing? This is Zev from Zev Outdoors and I hope you're having an awesome day. So I am at the Woodland Festival at Elvaston Country Park in the county of Derbyshire here in the United Kingdom. This is a festival designed to focus on subjects all wood related, from woodland practices, forestry work, woodland craft, etc. I'm here just for the day and I thought I'd bring you along. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.
It's okay, it's fine. There we go.
Yeah, they are. This is ridiculous. Mendel, you generally, thankfully, Mendel you will like handful of any. Quite useful around your shoes. It's, particularly in Scandinavia, in the winter, the fjords freeze, and it's easier to travel over that than it is to go around all of them. So they did that.
So ski, you was
Sign off. Purple thing. Amethyst. There we go. Rubbish it right.
Matt, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm just looking at your stuff here. Could you just go over what it is you do? You're making miniature replicas basically of tools and so forth, is that correct?
Yep. Many different things. Is generally whatever comes into my head, what I see, I just decide to make one. I started with the axes, then made a few of the bow saws and tools just for small RC replica things.
And the difference with these is you've actually done these properly, haven't you? They're actually
Yep,
working, they're forged, and yeah, they're
full
all
steel, all sharp. You can actually chop things with them. One of my favourites is the crossbow. Unfortunately, that's not finished yet. It's a reverse draw compound crossbow that shoots about 20 metres. Where's the bolts with a set of small bolts to go with them.
And once again, this is fully functioning, isn't it? It's an
Yep.
actual working model.
Yeah, the rebounds off them are quite nasty.
I can imagine. And you were showing me the sledgehammer just off camera. That's a
full steel head, attached properly on the end, an overlay in it, oak handle, and when you hit things with it, it sounds like a sledgehammer.
Gosh. And then you also showing me the saw as well. That's an actual fully
Yep.
functioning saw.
It's full tang, so normally you'd just make the handle pretty, but
Right.
it's actually got the tang all the way through. It's got a 5-piece handle. It's brass, aluminium, antler, laburnum, steel on the end, and then the end's peened over. And it's a full steel blade, so yeah.
gosh.
made as the real ones would, but a lot smaller.
And then you've got the buxel here, haven't you? You've got the that
Yep.
you've just made here.
Oh, knocking things over. A small bow saw. Again, we were getting the replicas, and they looked nice, but you couldn't actually cut things down with them. So we wanted something that was fully functional. The fun bit with these was drilling the blade to put the pins in, because the blades are actually removable, so you can swap the blades over.
And so the proof is in the pudding. You've got a bit of wood to test that on
Yeah.
to see the saw in action.
You have to use them the wrong way round, because you can't get enough push on them to get it to cut. But yeah, you can actually cut through with them.
That was incredible.
So yeah, I like my miniatures, but they have to be functional. Same with the shields. I saw somebody make some shields the other day. So they're not just one piece of wood, they're the slats put together. And then I press the bosses out with a big metal ball bearing and a hammer.
That is fantastic. Matt, I really do appreciate you letting me have a look around and talking through some of your
nice to meet you.
beautiful work. If you want to find out more about Matt,
direction. And then you get, you know, big chips coming out, yeah. And just keep going. It's a good workout.
so I've got a buddy of mine, Dan. Dan, how you doing?
All right, thanks, Ed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. So what has he got going on there? Are these all items that have been foraged in some capacity or another?
Yeah. We've got a few things that we've found here. So we've got some burdock root. People will know that from dandelion and burdock. Although today's burdock is there's none in dandelion and burdock. Basically, it's all chemicals. But out of that, I've made some like burdock relish. Which has got various other ingredients added, and it goes nicely with fish. So we'll have some of that a bit later on. And in here we've got some pesto. What I like to do is I like to forage for certain ingredients, but then mix it up with shop bought stuff, and it all forms part of the, you know, the cooking experience for me, I guess. So that's nettle pesto, and it's got all the other usual ingredients in it. Pine nuts, hazelnuts. Lemon, all of that sort of stuff. Also in here we've got some wild watercress that I gathered yesterday. There's a few tricks you need to know about that, because it tends to grow in streams, and if cattle and sheep have access to the stream, there's potential for liver fluke, which is pretty nasty. It's a little bug that lives in creatures, and its life cycle means that it goes into the water, it lives in a snail. The snail then gets eaten on grass and stuff that's next to the stream. So with this, I've picked it all from above water level, because the fluke lives at water level or just below. And then I'm washing it in water with a bit of cider vinegar, or just vinegar basically, helps to neutralise it. And I'll also cook it as well, so there's 3 ways to make sure that that's not a problem. But it's the same with all wild food really, you know, you need to know what you're picking and where you're picking it from. We've got some other things here as well. This one, most people ask, what's this? A lot of people have guessed, but this is wild garlic roots. So you can eat the leaves, the flowers and the roots. You just need to know where it's been growing, because at the moment there's no visible sign of the roots. We've also got some samphire. Dave's just come back from Norfolk, where he was able to gather some before he came here. That's going to go with the fish, I think. Seems right for samphire to go with fish. What else have we got? We've got some crab apples, and we've got some blackberries, and I'm going to make a late summer fruit pudding with that in a little while. Hopefully today we'll sort that out. Yeah.
Perfect. And what you got marinating over here?
This is pigeon breast meat. So we've got this technique to just get the breast meat out of the pigeon quickly, because that's the main thing you want to eat. And it's just marinating in some olive oil, some rosemary, wild garlic, bit of pepper. Probably marinate it for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then we'll just fry it off quickly, and it'll still be rare in the middle, but it's really tasty meat. Underrated, I think. Yeah. And I think probably with that watercress I'll make some soup. I think that's the way to go with that. Well, they're kind of a crab apple, but they're a bit too big for a crab apple really, so I think it's like a wilding apple that's sort of hybridised. They're not that palatable like that, so they need to be cooked and turned into something. And that's where the summer fruit pudding will come in, so I'll mix them with the blackberries and a few other ingredients, and then hopefully, yeah, we'll have something tasty to eat a bit later on. Is get the meat out of it.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if you were in a survival situation and you just managed to get one, you'd probably pluck it and get all of the meat out and all the goodness. But these have been shot by a pest control guy. He sells them quite cheaply, but the meat's really good. Underrated, I think, the breast meat. But that's all we want, really, the breast meat.
Nothing else worth it.
Well, there's not much meat on a pigeon drumstick, so I don't tend to worry about those really. So the quick way to deal with it, instead of plucking it or anything, is you hold it like it's flying away from you, and then you grab a wing and twist it, pull the wing off. Same with that one. Pull that one off, and then the head comes off. A couple of twists and you can pull the head off. And then what you need to do is have the breast meat in one hand and the back in the other. And now we're looking for the throat, and we need to just work our thumbs in. This could be a tough one. Let's see what... Sometimes at this stage you can see what they've been eating, because their crops are full of like sugar beet or beans or something. So I'm just literally pulling it in half now, and I can, with my thumb, I can feel the back of the pigeon's rib cage. And then what I can do is I can just grab the bottom and flip that out like so. And then we end up, ideally, with a handful of something we don't want and a handful of something we do want. Ideally, we're not too many feathers on. But so yeah, this would be in a fancy restaurant. This would be called Shield a Pigeon. There you go. So that's the lovely breast meat.
Fresh. You've took away. You've not gone mess about with the guts or nothing then.
No, no. And I'm just going to cut the meat off from the bone, marinate it, and then we'll just flash fry it just for a few minutes. It'll be rare in the middle, and it's just beautiful, very tasty, rich meat.
Right.
So I'll do the next one as well. Looking out down.
Was trying to get his knife out because it was dull.
So, nice thin piece of wood, but most important, all the fibres of the wood are still intact going through that thin section, so it should be able to just bend. Yeah, I was thinking that.
So with a friend of mine, Steve Tomlin. Steve, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm doing well, thank you. So we're just looking at your basket here. Could you kind of give me a bit of an explanation as to kind of, this is something you've made yourself. So how would you describe, what is it called?
So this is a stave basket.
Right.
As far as we know, from the southwest of England, but I'm starting to realise that it might be much wider spread than that. and it's an agricultural basket traditionally, made in various different sizes. This is a number 2, but they go up to a number 9, which is a huge, great thing without the top handle.
Right.
And it's made for hard work. It's a very durable and strong basket, fixed together with the copper nails, and it's a real sort of workhorse.
And what material is it made from?
So all the bent pieces are ash, small diameter coppice ash, and then the staves, I've used Western red cedar, but that's just because what's really easy for me.
Beautiful. And you're quite multifaceted with your skills, so you're doing the fan bows here, is that correct? And the ash splint as well?
Yeah, I'm doing fan bows and making them here today for the public, little demonstrations.
With the thing. Excellent, Steve, I really do appreciate your time, thank you.
No problem at all.
We have, as it says on the label, a well bucket. Why is it called a well bucket? Why is it that shape? It's that shape because all that is holding it together are these bands of steel that I make like so. I make them exactly the right size to hold the vessel together. This is wood. In weather similar to what we've had this last summer, where it's been incredibly dry, the wood shrinks. Okay? And as the wood shrinks, if the bucket was that way up, the hoops would fall off into the well and disappear, as would all the rest of the bucket. And you would finish up with a piece of rope or chain. That is a well bucket. This, as you can see, is an unwell bucket. Yes, I know. Oh, but all the pieces are here to make a well bucket. And the way we do it, firstly, we select the top ring and one stave. I then clip it there. I now have a handle. That handle there stands proud. I then get some more staves. As you see, I've already made a groove to hold the base into place. And we put these round until it's time for us to put another handle on. We always put the handles opposite each other, because if they're both together, you lift it up, everything falls out. So that handle goes there, and we don't put them in upside down for a start, we put them in the correct way up. We put in the rest of the staves.
And what wood is this?
This is made out of spalted ash. The reason being, I had plenty of spalted ash. No other reason. And we have the final piece. But as you can see there on your camera, it is exactly too short. So I put my finger in there, remove the clip, slide this down, holds it all together. I then take another ring. Now this ring has been beaten on one side. I've hit it hard with a heavy hammer so that it is stretched. This is now going to fit over there, and I rattle about inside like so, and that is all that holds it together. Just the hoops and the fact that I made a reasonable job of it. Now, to put a base in, I have a base here. I'm a bit squeezed for room here. That fits in the grooves, and I loosen it up a bit, put it in place, and then, in order to make it watertight, I get my big heavy hammer and hammer the hoops down seriously tight. Because if you don't do that and you drop it, it all falls to pieces.
He's a senior, and then there's one more senior.
So I've just met Tim. Tim, nice to meet you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
So could you explain to me what it is you've got going on here?
Yeah, so we have a beekeeping and bee product stand. As you can imagine, I'm a beekeeper and I have various hives. And what I do at the Woodland Festival is introduce people to some of the products that you can get from the beehive, and hopefully see if I can attract some budding beekeepers to the hobby, or maybe even profession if they get that keen. So so we can see we've got a frame of bees in here. Unfortunately, I was unable to find the queen bee today. And it's a bit late in the season, but we've got some bits of honey here, and you can see the workers trying to keep some of the brood warm. We've got some various artifacts from the beekeeping profession or the hobby. Most of these things here, a lot of these things here are quite old-fashioned really by current standards, but a lot of people ask some very interesting questions about beekeeping, and I think there's possibly, or hopefully, some people who will go away from this weekend and take up beekeeping.
And so with this one here, this honey extractor,
Yes.
and this is kind of my ignorance on this. So for example, when you get the honeycomb, is this extracting the honey from the comb itself? Or?
It is, yeah. So although this is a out of commission extractor, but just by way of example, you would get the frame of honey, you would cut the caps off the end. There's a frame there with some caps on it.
This one here, yeah.
And then once you've taken those caps off, this would be installed into a honey spinner. So that would go into there. And then once one's put on the other side, it's then spun, and the centrifugal force propels the honey from the beeswax to the side of the cylinder. It's left for a while to run down to the bottom, and then the tap is opened at the bottom and the honey is liberated. This is a very old type of cylinder, although it's the type that my father used, and I have a much more modern thing that has a sieve in it, so you get certain suspended items in the honey, like bits of wax and other things that get sieved out, so the honey is nicely purified. So, because obviously honey is food, it's important that hygiene standards are met, and also that the honey extraction process prevents foreign objects from entering the honey. So it has to be quite a considered process, but it's great fun, but it does take a lot of work.
I can imagine, but you do some great work, and if people want to find out more about the work you're doing, where would they go to?
So on the Woodland Festival website, there is a list of the exhibitors and all the stall holders today, and my details are on there. And if somebody would like to speak to me about beekeeping, I'm more than happy to talk about it with them.
Perfect. Once again, I really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
No problem.